What's going on, guys? My name is Collin. Welcome back to the channel, and if you can't tell, I'm an American, and if you also can't tell, I am an idiot. And today we're going to be predicting the Premier League 2022-23 season. There's going to be some absolutely wild shouts in here that I don't think you're going to be seeing in any other YouTubers' predictions, so stick around and find out where I'm placing your club to finish this season. So in at number 20, it's Bournemouth. Honestly, these guys are going straight back down. The only notable thing that they've done in the transfer market this season is signing Ryan Fredericks. The only thing I remember about him really doing for us is just coming on at like the 70th minute, opening the door for some man to score, and me just absolutely hating him. So take him and take him back down to the championship where he belongs. I didn't want him there. Thank you. They do have Slanky and Lowe up front. I think they're going to get like 15 goals max between the two of them. I don't think they're Premier League level, and I don't think they'll be able to compete with the pace and the high intensity of the Premier League. I think they'll just succumb to the pressure and just be another Norwich City. Not to mention, like, can we just look at their away kit for this season? Can we just appreciate how sick this is? Bournemouth are just going on vibes this season. And in 19th place, it's Fulham. Again, not a shocker to really anybody at all.
He's done it again! That is a foul! Fucking little bastard!
We got Mitrovic back in the Prem. I don't think he'll be able to do anything near what he did in the championship. He got, I think it was 42, 43 goals. They did bring in Polina and Brent Leno. They are good signings, and I could see them beating United in some shock, like just Watford style victory last season. Fulham, you're going right back down. I'm really not that sorry. And in 18th place, this is where it gets good, and this is where I'm excited. Everton. I do not like these guys at all, and I don't really know why. A lot of people last season said that Richarlison was primarily the reason that they stayed up. Anthony Gordon did start to perform. I do rate him as a player. I do think he's good, and I do think he needs to get out of Everton so he can blossom as a player. They did bring in Tarkowski and McNeil from Burnley, but I just don't think that's good enough because they got Burnley relegated. What are they going to do to Everton? They're replacing the likes of Richarlison, and they do have Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front as well, but he's on the runway more than he is the pitch. Like, he's just not there enough, and I don't think he'll be able to keep up, and they'll be able to just score enough goals to keep Everton in the Prem. And at number 17th, we got Southampton. And these guys are another team just running off vibes this season. Just look at this thing. It's so sick. Their most notable signings being the likes of Benzunu and Joe Aribo from Rangers, but they don't have the likes of Broja up front. And I just don't think that they'll be able to really maintain themselves anywhere outside fighting for relegation this season. You know, I feel bad for James Ward-Prowse because he could be so much better. If he was at like a Spurs or an Arsenal or a West Ham. Hey, James, come through. East London's looking nice this time of year. Come on, man. I think, honestly, Hasenhüttl has, like, one more 9-0 left in him before he gets sacked, but, honestly, for their own sake, I hope that Southampton can make a splash this season. 17th for Southampton. And at number 16th, it's newly promoted Forest. My boys, my championship team. So last year, when I started following football, I decided I'm going to have a championship team just in the hopes, like, hey, what if the team I pick gets promoted? That'd be sick. And I just picked Forest because, honestly, I like their logo. It's a fucking little tree. It's cool. And then, like, 6 or 7 months later, I was like, what's going on here? They're like 5th, 4th. I'm like, are my boys going to go up? And look at that. They did. They did. I think that they're in a good spot for this season. They did sign the likes of Dean Henderson for Man United, who was just immediately throwing insane levels of shade on Twitter. You already escaped, man. You don't have to kick them while they're down. That's just rude at that point. Another good signing, they brought in Neco Williams from Liverpool. I think he's a solid player just to reinforce the squad, just add that level of depth. You know, when they first signed Jesse Lingard, I was upset, but when I actually deeped it, for 200K a week, take him, and honestly, just run with him. I don't want him for that much money. As upset as I am, Jesse, I hope you don't get relegated at least, and, you know, 200K a week is just a bit mad. Nottingham Forest, 16th place. I think they're going to stay in the Premier League, and I think that their fans will be very, very happy about that. And at 15th, we have Brentford, another team floating near the bottom of the table. The biggest thing for them this summer was keeping Ivan Toney, a really good striker who was honestly one of the main reasons, besides Christian Eriksen, that they stayed up. Obviously, losing Eriksen is a giant loss to them, but they were in a decent spot before they had him, and I think that they'll stay in a decent spot without him this season. They brought in Keane Lewis-Potter from Hull. They also brought in the likes of player-manager superstar Ben Mee from relegated Burnley. I don't think they're going to suffer from second season syndrome and get relegated. I think they're just going to finish a little bit lower from last season. Brentford, 15th. And at 14th, we got Wolves, another team that I just don't rate. I don't like watching them play. I hated getting up at 6:30 in the morning to watch Wolves just do one in, tap in a goal, and then just sit back, just play ultra defense, and then just I hated it. I do not like watching them play, and I wish they got relegated, but they're not at the level to get relegated, so I'm not going to put them there. I'm not going to be outrageous for the sake of being outrageous, but they lost the likes of Roman Saiz, and they loaned out Fabio Silva, who didn't even really make an impact for them that much. Anyway, did he even score a goal? Did he score a goal? I don't know. I'm actually going to check it. He scored 2 goals in the Jupiler Pro League. I'm not trying to be rude. I don't know what that is. It's not really a big loss. I don't think he was doing too much for Wolves anyways, so hey. They did bring in Nathan Collins again from Burnley. Just literally all their players are just coming back to the Prem. I guess because they didn't learn their lesson from getting Burnley relegated, they're going to just give him a second chance. Jose Sa is like the only reason that they really were doing anything impactful. He was definitely the shining light of Wolves last season. I'm tired of their boring tap one in, just sit back and just live for 1-0. That's all they did. They lived for 1-0 last season, and I'm over it. Wolves, please just play entertaining. Just do something. Just do something, man. And at number 13th, it's RB Leeds USA. Jesse Marsch, he's just bringing in Americans left, right, and center. They brought in Brendan Aronson, Tyler Adams. They had lost the likes of Rafinha and Calvin Phillips, which are 2 massive losses. I think they were able to make up for it with the signings that they brought in, and they'll be able to make an impact this season and finish a little bit higher. I don't think that they'll be fearing for relegation like they were last season. I think that Leeds will get 13th, and they'll be able to just float around mid-table, just continue to do well. Hopefully Patrick Bamford is fit for this season. That in and of itself is like a whole new signing because he just really wasn't there. I think towards the end he was playing like 30, 60 minutes here and there just to get his fitness back, but he was really just absent the entire season with injuries, and honestly, so was all of Leeds. They were starting 15-year-olds on the bench, so I think if they can avoid that, avoid being injury prone, and just continue to build out their squad and have that squad depth, I think they'll be all right. They also brought in Sinistera on the wing, which I think is a good signing for them, but not enough to really replace the level that Rafinha was at. Will he be good enough? Leeds fans, are you excited for Sinistera? Are you excited for your season, the signing? How do you feel? Let me know in the comments. Are you excited about becoming an American team? Let me know. Or an RB team. You might be RB Leeds. And at number 12, Leicester. Leicester, wake the fuck up. The season starts in 2 days. You've not signed anybody. I don't understand what these guys are doing. It makes no sense. They've not signed a player. They let Kasper Schmeichel go for $1 million to OGC Nice. $1 million.
This is business.
This is my sweat.
I know, but I did business.
Shut up.
Do they know that there's a transfer window right now? I don't think they do. Like, it closes in 3 weeks, guys. You gotta sign somebody. They've had bids for James Maddison. If they lose him, it's gonna be bad. I mean, they do have Vardy, so they're not gonna be too like awful. They also have Chelsea in for Fofana for like $100 million they're evaluating him at, which I think is a little bit crazy. I don't know if he's worth 100 mil. I don't get it. It makes no sense. And I see people putting him at 9th, 8th. It's mad. I wanted to put them a little bit lower, but honestly, Leicester, 12th place, and you should be happy to be 12th place because... And then 11th place, I got Brighton. I think they're going to finish a little bit lower than they did last season. They still have Cucurella at the time of recording. I know Chelsea were talking about signing him for like 50 mil, I think it was. If he leaves, I don't think that they'll be able to really perform to the level that they did last season, especially without Bissouma as well. They do obviously have Neil Maupay, Danny Welbeck, and Leandro Trossard up front, who, you know, they're solid. They're a solid mid-table front three. They have some decent attacking options, and I think that they'll be able to really just stick mid-table, just 11th place, nothing crazy. Brighton, 11th place this season. And at 10th place, we have Crystal Palace. Now, it's Patrick Vieira's second season with the Eagles, and their biggest loss is Conor Gallagher back to Chelsea. Terrible, terrible loss for them. Conor Gallagher was doing so much for them up front. He was really great in the midfield, creating a lot of chances and scoring a lot of goals for them. A lot of people were talking bad about him, especially after he did this in preseason.
Gallagher should have went.
Honestly, it's a bit jokes to try and Panenka somebody in preseason. They obviously still have Zaha up front, and he scored like 14 goals. He went under the radar last season. I thought he maybe scored like 8. They obviously signed England goalkeeper Sam Johnstone, as well as Chris Richards from Bayern Munich. There's a lot of Americans coming to the Prem this season, so shout out my boys, you know, America, fuck yeah. But Crystal Palace, I think that they're going to be 10th place, and I think their fans will be happy about that. Crystal Palace, 10th place. And in the 9th spot, we got Aston Villa. What happened to these guys last season? I remember in January, they were talking about Felipe Coutinho, the magician, but he did a disappearing act after like the first 3 games. Luca Digne didn't really perform to the level a lot of people I think were expecting him to when he came in January, but Stevie G, he's just been building this window. They've been signing a lot of decent players. They obviously got Kamara, Diego Carlos. I think they're going to have a solid mid-table team this season and just stay 9th, and they're going to be happy about that. I think they're going to see a little bit more out of Danny Ings this season. He only scored 7 goals for them. I hope for his and Aston Villa's sake they'll get at least 10, and I think that they're going to be good with 9th. I think 9th is a healthy place for them to be. Nothing really to complain about for them. Aston Villa in 9th place. Just to let you know, it is actually about 9 hours later. I had to go into work because, you know, man needs money to eat and live. So I had to go in and work a little 8-hour, but you know, it is what it is. We get the job done. Back to the predictions. And at number 8, it's Newcastle. Now, the Newcastle branch of the Saudi Arabian PIF, they're getting into some controversy. If you haven't heard, their away kit features the colors of the Saudi Arabian flag, obviously white and that nice shade of green. And a lot of Newcastle fans are very upset at this because at a certain point, they don't want to be repping the colors of the country that just owns them. The colors have no connection to the club. They have no history with the club. They don't really belong on the shirt in the opinion of the Newcastle fans. And I gotta say, I'm with them on that. But beyond that, it's kind of weird. A lot of people, as soon as they got bought, they were saying, oh, just wait, because they bought Trippier in winter, and what, Bruno, besides Kieran Trippier, there hasn't really been a big signing that people were expecting. People were thinking that they were going to be signing Haaland. People were joking that Mbappe was going to be pulling up, but they haven't really made any giant impactful signings. They've gotten rid of some dead weight. They did bring in Sven Botman. Gonna absolutely improve their back line. I think he's a very good defender who definitely has a place at Newcastle. And they also got Nick Pope from Burnley. Good goalkeeper, England goalkeeper. That's probably one of the better players from Burnley to be brought back to the Premier League. They also confirmed Matt Target, which is good. I think Newcastle, they have a lot of potential. I think they finished like 11 points or something crazy under Man United, and they didn't win like the first 14 games or something. The turnaround they had after they brought in Eddie Howe and after the buyout is so significant and substantial. I think Newcastle are going to finish 8th this season, and I think that's probably the opinion of most people. Newcastle, 8th place this season, and they should be very happy about that. And at number 7, Man United are in the mud, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care. It's just funny. It's funny to see someone fail, like when they're so good for so long. There's so many analogies for them too. Like, just look at their transfer window. They're shedding weight to stay afloat. They're like a sinking ship. If we're being honest, they haven't done awful this transfer window. They bought in Lisandro Martinez, who, despite the fact that Chris MG's probably taller than him, he's a very good defender. I don't think the height's going to be as big of a negative factor as a lot of people are expecting it to be, and I think that he'll be able to hold his own and definitely fit in the squad. Hopefully Maguire doesn't rub off on him. The other 2 big signings, they brought in Christian Eriksen, which is huge. I think that he's going to massively improve the midfield. Obviously, he's going to probably be challenging Bruno for a spot. I think that Man United have so many weak spots that just him being there and his presence, just like it helped Brentford, will help Man United. He's like a central figure, a leader who's just going to help bring them together. He's a good signing. I'm very excited to see him. And honestly, I'm just happy that he's able to play again, especially I think he has a pacemaker or something in his heart after he collapsed. Unfortunately, tragically during the Euros. I'm glad that he's able to be playing again in the Premier League. Despite all of that, we have the Cristiano Ronaldo situation, which is a whole beast in and of itself. He got subbed off and left before the game was even over. And the guy that they subbed on in place of him scored like 2 minutes later. It's a joke. It's like, nobody wants to sign him either. Everyone's rejecting him. Bayern didn't want him. Chelsea didn't want him. Barca don't want him. Real Madrid don't want him. Atletico Madrid don't want him. Sporting Lisbon don't want to sign him on loan. Nobody wants him, and it's so funny because his ego must be crumbling right now. People say he's the GOAT, and nobody wants to sign him because they just don't want to deal with him. I don't know, I think it's quite funny. It's like Man United are in quicksand, and Ronaldo is just running and running and running and trying to get himself out and just dragging him and the team down further with him. Man United, 7th place. I don't care. Ronaldo didn't want the Europa League. Fine, you're gonna get the Europa Conference League if you fucking stick around, buddy. That's where you're gonna go. Oh my god. And at number 6, it's the most massive team in the Premier League, boys. Come on, you Irons. Honestly, West Ham, we're doing so well this window, especially compared to January. We're making really good signings now. We brought in the likes of Scamacca, however you pronounce it. Onanu's looking like he's gonna be confirmed within the coming hours. It's looking Actually, you know what? Aguerd is fucking injured. I talked about it in this video. He got injured during a game with Rangers, and he's out for like 3 months after surgery. I think we're linked with Maxwell Cornet from Burnley as well. It'll be so nice to see him in there. I know I was kind of bad-mouthing Burnley players earlier on in the video, but he's probably one of the other better ones besides Nick Pope that I would like to see him in the team just to improve the overall squad depth, because we do have Europa Conference League this season. Our squad depth was a big problem last season. I just pray that we don't get as many injuries this season. We got Yarmolenko off the wage bill, which I'm super happy about. Obviously the likes of Jesse Lingard fell through, which is unfortunate, but for 200 grand a week, I'm not even that bothered. But most unfortunately, Mark Noble has retired. The absolute legend has finally left the team after 20 years of service with the club. Just an absolute club legend, and it's sad to see him go. And at number 5, it's Spurs, the bottle jobs themselves. And them actually getting Champions League was a shock, because it was just one of those things where it's just not in their nature to do it. They brought in the likes of Perisic, which is a good statement earmark signing at the start of the season. Obviously, they brought in Yves Bissouma, and also, the most interestingly, they brought in Richarlison, which just kind of seems a little weird to me. He is a good player, and he was definitely the best player at Everton by far, but I just don't see where he fits in, because they got Kane, Son, Kulusevski. They just have so many other options where I don't really see where Richarlison fits in, and I feel like he's a player for, especially the price tag, I think it was 60 million. It's weird to buy him for that much and then not have him starting. They also got Fraser Forrester from Southampton, which, good goalkeeper, but does he start before Lloris? No. Again, it's another signing where, cool, just padding out your squad depth, especially for the Champions League, I guess, but even then, does Fraser Forrester start in the Champions League? No. So it's, again, he doesn't start in the Prem, he doesn't start in the Champions League. He'll get some game time during, like, the Carabao Cup, which is cool for him, I guess. And at 4th place, we have Barcelona's personal scouts. It's Chelsea. They brought on the likes of Koulibaly, which, especially alongside Thiago Silva, Reece James, they're going to have some very scary defenders. They don't have Christensen or Rudiger anymore, which is a big blow, but Koulibaly, I think he'll definitely make up for what Rudiger brought to the team. Very good defender. They don't really have a main striker replacement either, unless you consider bringing Broja up to that, because obviously he's back from loan on Southampton. You have Conor Gallagher, but obviously he missed that goal, which is just funny. They brought in Raheem Sterling. He's not going to be playing down the middle, so they have more attacking options on the left or right wing, wherever they're going to play him. But they have Werner and Havertz. Havertz was doing okay. I was expecting them to bring in somebody who would make a statement and just be a solid strike force up front who's just going to bag in goals. I don't know if they're just relying on Broja or Werner or Havertz or what they're doing, but without them bringing in a good signing on that level to fill in that position, I just don't think they're going to get 3rd. Chelsea, 4th place. And at number 3, it's Arsenal. They're looking good this season. Jesus has risen, and all the churches in North London are seeing a big rise in attendance because, oh my lord, I think he scored like a hat trick a few days ago. I don't know. He scored like 7 goals in preseason, so he's hungry. He's definitely going to be a good replacement for Aubameyang. They also brought in the likes of Alexander Zinchenko from Man City and Marquinhos. Not that one. They also brought in Fabio Vieira, which is strengthening the overall squad, adding more depth to it. And honestly, Arsenal looking like they're in their prime of the Arteta era. Can we actually talk about how crazy it is that KSI, a YouTuber, I say that now, he's done everything, he's clear, but KSI is sponsoring Arsenal Football Club with a drink that I'm also drinking right now. That's very good. The Champions League isn't going to be the only thing they're battling this season. We're going to see Logan Paul on AFTV after losing 3-0 to Crystal Palace.
It's last night I chatted to my mum, yeah? My mum's Wenger in. Is she mad?
It's no surprise. It's, again, one of the predictions that pretty much every single person who's not a Liverpool fan has. And at number 2, it's Liverpool. And these guys have had a very interesting preseason. Obviously, Darwin Núñez being brought in to rival Haaland up front. They even have the same hair. Obviously, the biggest loss of the squad is Sadio Mane. The fact that Liverpool let him go for $35 million is beyond me. How do you spend $50 million more and go from Sadio Mane to Darwin Núñez? There's just that bit of a balancing act now that they have between, obviously, they have so many options up front, and we haven't even talked about Mo Salah yet. The only thing I will say, and the only reason that I cannot put Liverpool in first for this season, is their midfield needs a little bit of strengthening. I don't think they're at that level. They still have Jordan Henderson, who's aging. He's not bad by any means. He's a very good player. They still have James Milner, obviously another aging player. They have a very aged midfield. I do think they needed a little bit of strengthening in their midfield.
Hey Jude.
They did obviously lose the likes of Divock Origi and Takahiro Minamino, but I don't think compared to the signings that they brought in, that's going to be too impactful, and I think Liverpool are going to get second place again. Liverpool, second place. And look, it's not a joke. We all knew who it was going to be before you even clicked on the video. It's Man City. These guys, they're just going to destroy. They got Haaland in, you know, my GOAT. They brought in Calvin Phillips again to replace Fabinho, I would imagine, just adding more depth to their midfield. Bernardo Silva, he's linked to Barca. If they lose him, then that's going to be a big loss. Obviously, he was very impactful in their midfield for them. They lost Raheem Sterling. I think he'll be better off at Chelsea, where he'll have more of an actual role to play. At Man City, it just kind of felt like he slotted in at times and just filled the gaps. They lost Zinchenko to Arsenal, which is a good move for him. Haaland, if he stays fit, he's going to absolutely just cement their position in first and win them the league, probably win them the Champions League, probably win them fucking everything, because he's just an absolute baller, and you couldn't have had a better addition to the squad. Man City, first place, again, to nobody's shock. So that was my Premier League predictions. Please tell me what you think. Leave your comments below. Tell me what you think about where I put your team. Are you happy with how your team performed in the transfer window so far this season? Are you excited for this season? Are you looking forward to it? Are you not looking forward to it? Are you worried about your team being relegated? Are you thinking that your team's going to be challenging? Let me know what your thoughts are on the Premier League just overall. I would very much appreciate it if you could take the time of your day to leave a like and subscribe as well. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day, guys, and peace.